Hello, this is Mike, here with my new channel, Astrological Ascension. Wanted to create a video today titled The Freedom of Creation versus the Fear of Fate. And what this video is going to be about is a little bit about the angle that I approach astrology from as a new paradigm of the astrology of choice, and not the pop astrology ideas about the the silly things, the fearful things about making predictions. And I want to just talk about a little about how this channel is going to be and the things I want to work on and create. In this video, I kind of just wanted to talk about how I really just love evolutionary astrology, because the system I'm learning from by Stephen Forrest, it's just so intricate and so powerfully rooted in the ability for people to make choices and change and grow, as compared to old paradigm astrology of going and having a reading done and being told facts about your personality. And one of the quotes from Stephen's work is, "It's evolutionary astrology is about prescription and not description. It's about helping people make the best choices and consciously create a really powerful future by seeing evolutionary pathways and opportunities that are just rocket fuel for the soul's journey." And so what I wanted to talk about in this video was that it's really fascinating to me how the planet and zodiac sign and house triad works in the context of a new evolutionarily based reality for astrology. And so what I mean by that is it's also how I want to integrate the higher self embodiment things that I've made lots of videos about on my other channels into this, because astrology is so cool. Because whenever you learn how the elements are balanced within you, how your planets interact in angles and aspects, and how the signs are balanced in you and what houses, and then they evolve over time, which is like it's like an active opportunity to evolve these aspects of your consciousness. So the way I see the planets is, the planets are aspects of the mind, aspects of consciousness, or you could say aspects or parts of your higher self, which is how I like to think about it. So, every person has every planet somewhere in their chart, but it's not as robotic as that. It's not as mechanical. It's much more individual and subjective how the planets operate, because every planet is colored by a sign of the zodiac and a house. So every planet is a triad, and they operate very differently. So every person has that aspect of their higher self in their current lifetime colored through that triad, and how it expresses itself, and how it's seeking to evolve and grow through the journey of the lifetime. And then additionally, so whenever you start talking about astrology of free choice, you can have someone that say they're very prone to a very fiery, very aggressive, confrontational type of an energy. Very, very Martian-based type of energy. So just based on that, like looking at a person's chart, the fatalistic astrologer would look at that and think, wow, this person is going to be very confrontational and just like use a lot of energy to confront people and do this and that. But in evolutionary astrology, you never know how a soul is going to respond to the challenges the birth chart presents. And so that's the X factor of free will. A soul could be extremely evolved and live tons and tons of lifetimes and be making really powerful, very conscious, healthy choices to karmic issues in the chart. And so that's the second thing about the planets, are you never know how the soul is responding to them. And that's all based on how much of your higher self you're connecting to and how much you're choosing to say yes to and embody. And that the planets are how your higher self translates into a human personality. Say, for example, the sun, the center of the ego self, the center of identity, the vital force of your beliefs and values, what's meaningful to you, what makes you want to get up in the morning and do what you do, what's your principles, what makes you want to be you. That's, for example, that's the sun. And the sun is very multidimensional, holographic, in the sense that the ego is our individualized aspect of self, who we think we are. And equally, the sun symbolizes the higher self and how all higher selves converge into the one higher self that everyone shares. But the point of what I'm saying is that that's an aspect of the higher self, how it expresses through individualized personalities. And a person can be making very powerful responses to the ego, the drive for the ego to form itself and define itself and experience itself. And, you have to have an identity in the world to be alive and be a person and get things done. And there's just a spectrum of how people respond to that. Some people respond with narcissism and thinking it's all about me, and there's no compassion or no empathy for anyone else. And so what this channel is really going to be about is how you can is just my personal exploration of creating my astrological practice, which I'm in the process of doing, and also just how my work, my experiment, what I want to do is integrate the higher self embodiment teachings into the system of evolutionary astrology, because it's pretty amazing how well they combine, and it just represents like this roadmap of how you can consciously evolve your inner aspects of your being, how you can move in octaves up and down, preferably up, or not down, but into a higher resonance of oneness with your higher self, with your knowing of who you are as a divine being. And so that's basically what this video is going to be about. A little bit of an intro. This is a kind of a new setup I have here. It's a very wide angle camera on my computer, so it's kind of hard for me to get close enough. But yeah, I just want to share my passion for evolutionary astrology and evolving and growing into ever greater unity and oneness with the higher self, and just basking in that, seeing the higher self in everyone you meet, and the divinity of the world as a whole, and nature. I spend a lot of time in nature, and the earth is so wise. The earth has all the answers for healing humanity. And so I see evolutionary astrology as like the masculine counterpart to the wisdom of the earth, the holy science of the stars, so to speak. It's a roadmap for our soul. It's our karmic blueprint of what we're here to work on, and it's also a map of how to heal it, how to traverse that karmic baggage that we have about our tendencies that we've carried in our emotional body. And it can all be healed by learning to align with your higher self, which is, a very kind of spontaneous sort of a teaching with the channels like Paul Selig or Kaya Ra and Matt Kahn, that are the people that I've spent a lot of time reading and listening to. But astrology is so amazing because it's a language to explain all of it, and every person has a individual, unique snapshot of the planetary archetypes, the zodiac signs, the elements, and the houses, how that's physically translated in behavior and manifestation in the world. Every person has that fingerprint of what they're here to work on, what they're here to do, what their soul wants to do through them, what their higher self wants to do through them and as them. And that it's amazing. It's a fingerprint from when you're born, and then additionally it evolves over time with transits and progressions. So you get to consciously explore how these things are growing and changing in your consciousness, and how you can choose to grow with them, grow your soul. And that big spectrum of planets. It's interesting, like with the planet Mercury, which symbolizes the mind and the intellect and listening and speaking, and so like over time, if you very consciously evolve your Mercury, so imagine, like, for example, me, as growing up as a very shy, very awkward, very inward, very quiet person. So like in that example, my Mercury hadn't evolved very much. I wasn't very good at speaking or listening or expressing that part of me. But over time, I didn't know about how to consciously do this through working with transits and progressions yet. But I've evolved so much. My Mercury has evolved. It's not like as high as it will ever be by any means, but my Mercury is growing and expanding. My ability to speak and listen and just learn, and constantly just being immersed in new experience. That's what the Mercury aspect of the mind, how it organizes itself. And it's amazing because that's the aspect of consciousness that does that through us, and we get to individualize that and express it in our journey and how we want to be. And we don't have to be awkward and afraid and worried about everything. We can align to our higher self and really work with those aspects of us and it's so magical. And I just wanted to share about that because I think it can help a lot of people. That's why I'm doing this. I think a conscious, evolutionarily directed exploration of astrology, or having a reading with a person that knows what they're doing, it can help so much. Like, I had a reading done with someone that I thought was going to be very experienced with this system of evolutionary astrology, and I was very disappointed. It just was just kind of, description, and it wasn't much prescription or active, like, evolutionary pathway presentation about here's how you can grow and change and choose, and here's challenges and dangers and things that could happen if you make a lazy or a unconscious response to this or that. So yeah, this is the channel where I'm going to be talking a lot about how to grow with evolutionary astrology. And it's not really going to be like astrology weather forecasts kind of a thing, because the way I'm learning is the current astrological transits, they, like if a person's born right now, they have those as their natal chart positions, but to understand transits, they need to be defined in terms of a person and how it's affecting the person. Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me how you can have people explaining current transits and stuff on their own without having meaning for the person whose birth chart that they're interacting with. I'm not really going to do stuff like that, but I do want to eventually do charts, like have charts on the video and go through the charts and how the karma is presented in the chart, and how there's pathways for evolution in the chart, and dangers and opportunities as well. So this has been Mike with Astrological Ascension. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Bye.